What's up, everybody? Paul here from the Hoops Crew with your round 16 entry of Nuff of the week for 2025. It's been a weird sort of a week. I haven't got a Geelong game to cover, so I've been kind of quiet, and it's given me some time to take stock of what's going on in the AFL and critique things that need critiquing, and also just put my feet up and catch some of my breath for a little while. So let's kind of get into it. Let's start to grease the tires. Let's start to have a crack at all things AFL once again with Nuff of the week this week. And we're taking a look at the SCG ground curation team because they have absolutely cocked one up this week with the state of the ground for the Sydney and Western Bulldogs game. And what I want to highlight in this before we get any further is they have had 3 months almost from the source of the problem to the issues we've seen this past weekend. So let's kind of set the stage a little bit here. Andrea Bocelli. Now, I can't even believe that many people are alive still to go to his gigs, but here we are. Apologies to anyone who I might have just offended there. There was a concert at the SCG going back to April 3rd, where Andrea Bocelli was there and he performed, and apparently they must have had like a mosh pit because the ground is all chopped up. And basically the SCG hasn't recovered since. So we're going to pick through kind of what's happened, how it all happened, and where to from here with this entry of Nuff of the Week. But first, let's take a word from our sponsor.
The Hoops Crew Media Network is proudly sponsored by Cyril Cook Florist. Visit them at shop 1211 Leather Street in Breakwater. Phone them on 035 222 2244 or visit their website at www.cyrilcookflorist.com.au and use the offer code GOCATS in the voucher field at checkout to get 20% off your next online purchase.
Thank you, Cyril Cook Florist, as always, for your ongoing support of the Hoops Crew and all we get up to. Now, let's get into proceedings a little bit here and explain some of the background, because as I mentioned, this bloke has caused irreparable damage to the SCG as things stand. And honestly, I take the piss a little bit out of that. Andrea Bocelli, sure, fantastic singer, I guess. The over 90s would have loved it. I have no doubt about it. And they clearly got so excited they destroyed the SCG a little bit. But the ground hasn't recovered since. Now, let's please take note of the fact that this occurred on April 3rd. As of when I record this, as of when this video goes up, 29th of June. And when we had the Dogs and the Swans game, we're talking about the 27th of June. So it has been nearly 3 whole months since Andrea Bocelli played. And I could understand short-term effects. Absolutely. I went to Green Day not long before the AFL season started, and you could see it on Marvel Stadium afterwards that it wasn't quite 100% good to go. It was in a pretty good state, but not 100% good to go. But what we're seeing 3 months later from the SCG is absolutely ridiculous. So let's jump into the news a little bit here and kind of pull apart the information that we've got. Andrea Bocelli, the concert was performed at the SCG, with the surface seemingly still feeling the after effects of this show. Dean Cox spoke about the state of the ground afterwards, saying that there's been some challenges with the surface throughout the year. He also described it as being beyond unacceptable. Now, if you've seen any footage from this game, there are players eating shit on the turf, left, right, and center. And some of them it's not because they've zigged and then gone to hard zag the other way and they're stops because they're not allowed the long metal stops anymore. Maybe that hasn't facilitated an easy move. No, these are simple ones. We're taking off straight lines, running directly in front of you. And even then, the players have been slipping over. It's been an absolute disaster, the state of this ground ever since. And it really reared its head the most with this Sydney and Western Bulldogs game. Now, he did say also, this is Dean Cox, of course. I said, I look into other things. That's where I spend my time, things I can control. And that's him kind of deflecting a little bit and making sure that he doesn't cop a fine from the AFL. But the reality of it is, and we can see it with some of the top tier commentators that start talking about it. We see players slipping over left, right, and centre that Alistair Lynch pointed out in the forward 50 near the Bradman stand. It's been an issue for a few months here at the SCG, and we spoke about the mistakes. Bulldogs they felt like they were trying to kick the ball. Who else spoke about it? Jared Waitley talking about how it's disappointing it's lingered for so many months. Jonathan Brown, are you allowed to play on this surface? This is as bad as I've seen in years. He then references even the dark old days of playing at what was then referred to as Colonial Stadium, of course, now Marvel Stadium, and the state that ground was in early days and how sandy it was. But that was a brand new stadium. The SCG's been around for, 100 plus years? It gets used all the time for football, for cricket, for all sorts of other shows as well. It's really surprisingly bad. Now, apparently, and I've got to try and find this in the article here. No, I read it somewhere. Damn it. I think I've just lost it. Yep, we've just suddenly scrolled on to the Pies and the Eagles out of nowhere. But apparently they've, the SCG curation team has been well aware of this problem for a while now, and they've been doing all they can with all the technology available to them to make it work. And yet, despite that, after nearly 3 months, the ground is still a mess. So maybe SCG curation team, we need a change of hands here. Maybe we need some people who can look after the ground properly. Maybe those making decisions on behalf of the SCG in terms of who can and can't utilize the ground. Maybe you need to think about the sports that are here 99% of the time and don't book concerts, big or small, on the SCG during that time. Because if you can't get your ground right after 3 months to a point where it's safe, and we are so fortunate that we didn't come out with an ACL or broken bones because of a collision with someone slipping over. We've dodged a massive bullet in this particular case, but you only have to watch the footage, especially one piece of footage involving Bailey Williams, to realize just how close we came to some really serious injuries. So SCG curation team, you are the Nuffs of the week this week. You've had 3 months to get a ground to a decent standard, but you haven't even been able to do that. So please go reflect on your job. Leadership at the SCG, also take some time, go and reconsider whether you book Andrea Bocelli or any other artists of any sort, big or small, anything that is going to compromise the state of the ground. Maybe you need to rethink that during the AFL season, because it's clearly not working for you. You wouldn't do it for the cricket. We know that the SCG prioritizes cricket, rugby over AFL. Fine, more for you, but fine. But you wouldn't do this for cricket, so don't do it for AFL either. It's not that hard. Thank you, everyone, for having checked out this video. Nuff of the week for round 16, 2025 is in the books. Thank you all for checking it out. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit like on this video, share it with your friends and family, get the word out there about all things Hoops Crew and what we are creating. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/The Hoops Crew, where you can subscribe for 7 days, free trial access, where you can get all of the early access, extended and exclusive content that we're producing. See if it's for you. Hopefully you enjoy it. And then for the cost of $5 per month, you can continue to subscribe to all that we're producing and get that content delivered directly to your email inbox. You'll find me on socials, Paul James Games on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Twitter. The Hoops Crew is at The Hoops Crew. And until next time, that is Nuff of the week for round 16, 2025. Looking forward to the Cats getting back to it this week, because it's been a weird old week without football. I know every club is having their chance, but geez, it feels weird. Thanks a lot for watching. Remain Geelong strong, and I'll see you later.